Metal Gear Solid is perhaps considered one of the most influential games ever. For those that didn't get the chance to play this game during its initial release, I'll let you guys know right now, this game blew your balls off back in the day. No, really, a new style of 3D stealth action,
A surveillance camera?
fantastic voice acting,
Well, I know I won't be bored for the next 18 hours.
and a level of storytelling and polish that had never been seen before. Metal Gear Solid was the shit. But in 2013, things have taken a dramatic turn for the Metal Gear series. The main character's illustrious title of Snake has been revoked, and we're given Raiden as the hero from Metal Gear 2 and Metal Gear 4, who I've seen naked more than anyone could ever want. Now here's where things take a turn for the worse. Our wonderfully well-paced stealth series is now gone for over-the-top action, ridiculous set pieces, and brainless combat. This cannot be any further than what Metal Gear actually is, and I am personally appalled that Kojima would let such a thing even The hell? I thought I turned my cell phone off.
Maximilian, this is Snake. Can you hear me?
Whoa. Are you Snake? Are you the legendary Solid Snake? Dude, you were in one of my favorite games as a kid.
Listen, rookie. War has changed.
Well, what are you talking about?
It's no longer about 30-minute cutscenes, confusing story, or jerking off in a locker.
What do you think you're doing, Snake?
Metal Gear and its consumption of time has become a well-oiled machine.
But Snake, the Metal Gear games are fantastic. What's wrong with...
Quiet. War has changed. The age of games feeling like a movie are past. When most of the game's out of your control, the formula becomes routine.
I understand now. What would you have me do? I can sneak into the base undetected.
No, Max.
Well, then what?
Cut what you will. Kill everything.
I'm gonna break it to you guys right now. Metal Gear Rising is an amazingly crafted spin-off to a hugely popular series. I can totally understand that a lot of hardcore Metal Gear fans would be pissed that their long-beloved series would be changing and in the hands of another developer, but I honestly think that you'd be doing a huge disservice to video games in general if you didn't try this out. But before we get into the details of why, understand that I am not a professional video game journalist. I'm just a dude that likes real video games.
How are things going?
The review's about to start. I'll be ceasing communications until it's concluded. Snake out.
When Platinum Games decides to take on a title, they usually do something that I absolutely love. The events and actions of the game shouldn't be taken very seriously. Don't get me wrong, I don't think all games should be like this. But in Rising's case, we now have an action game where you don't need to spend so much time during the story explaining every little detail about what happened and how it's happening.
Adios, amigos.
How the hell is Raiden able to hurdle a 20-story robot straight into the air? Well, this is a tough one. What is... Who gives a shit? It's freaking awesome!
Yes! Swing it wide open!
I also love how much this game makes me give a shit. Raiden discovers that this evil private military corporation is stealing the bodies, selling the organs, and harvesting the brains of children to create assassins.
Jesus Christ!
You want to talk about motivation? I'm gonna tear these guys a new asshole. Or 12.
I'm so fucked up. Why is this even in the game if I can't do anything?
This actually happens a couple of times during the game, where Raiden is restrained by his physical body or emotional state. Now, I can already hear some of you. That's stupid, I don't get to play the game right. Well, these sequences are actually here to make you feel helpless as a player for a brief period of time, to question your actions as you're playing a game, chopping every person up left and right. Now, I'm not going to spoil these story specifics, and if you play the game, it'll make sense what I'm talking about. but I think this game did a really good job about giving Raiden a believable character, somebody that you can relate with somewhat, even if he is a lethal cyborg assassin.
I was born to kill.
I kinda like him more in this game than Metal Gear 4, and especially Metal Gear 2.
Yeah, well, that's not saying much, Max.
Oh my god, chopping shit up feels so good in this game. Fast action and 60 frames per second seriously can't be beat. If you want to get brownie points with me for any video game, all you gotta do is mutter one phrase, 60 FPS, and you're already on my good side.
The feel of 60 frames per second is unrivaled on the battlefield.
Good god, on higher difficulties this game kicks my ass. Enemy actions, movement, and tactics completely change, and they'll do things you never ever even see on normal in the very hard and Revengeance difficulties. Well, get ready to clench your butt when every battle has 2 to 3 more enemies per encounter.
Fucking Jesus, goddamn it!
What am I even supposed to do?
If we make it through this review, I'll tell you.
There's moments in this game where it literally makes me feel like I'm a 12-year-old kid again. It's that friggin' awesome, and I haven't felt like this since Bayonetta. Looking at that wonderfully crafted 9-foot-tall, voluptuous female form.
You want to touch me?
Platinum Games just gets it. They just understand how this shit works. There's no other games out there that know how to empower the player more than these guys. Because you know at the end of a big long boss fight in Bayonetta or something, it goes on for like 10 minutes, rapid button presses, dodging, parrying, you're physically exhausted, the character's physically exhausted. What happens at the end? You crush the son of a bitch into freaking dust. And it happens on almost every boss. It's so satisfying because it's the wonderful, fantastic cinematic payoff for this big freaking fight you just endured. And Rising is kind of the same. Any of these ridiculously hard individual boss battles, even though there's not much, end up being so satisfying upon victory that I have trouble bringing the joy to words. That's it. Video games are done. You can all go home now. There's nothing else to see. Holy shit, that was the first boss? But what is this hype thing? Well, most of the time, it's manufactured excitement before a title comes out to get you to purchase the game. And delivering on the hype can be one of the hardest things to do in video games. Aliens Colonial Marines is the perfect testament of that.
But it's kind of fun, you know, to be able to kind of do those scares and those suspense moments.
Oh my god, Randy, shut up!
Snaker, I need a status update immediately.
We've almost got him, sir.
Holy hell, the music is like perfect for the feel of this game. If there's something besides 60 frames per second that gives me the biggest game-gasm, it's music that goes well with scenes in action. Now, a few games are still doing this right now, this quote-unquote dynamic music, where beats and crescendos actually change with your actions. A great example of this is the first Bowser boss fight in Mario Galaxy.
Holy shit.
This stuff is important because it creates excitement. It creates amazement. Not a fabricated, manufactured marketing plan before something even exists. No, you're feeling this shit as it's happening.
Let's go.
And this actually ends up being my favorite aspect of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. It leaves you in a sense of wonder and awe as a player and actually lives up to the hype. But the game is not perfect.
Your means end here.
What? Not perfect? Snaker, you must do
The
something.
review's almost over, Commander, and I'm gonna see it to the end.
The camera can be kind of a problem sometimes, especially when you get anywhere near the borders of a stage or corners. The big issue is that when you hit these areas, the walls don't become invisible to let you see everything. The camera gets right pressed up into the ass of your character, and you don't know exactly what the shit is going on. During your playthrough of the game, you'll learn to avoid the edges of a battle area just to get around the weird camera. And the active Zandatsu, which is awesome in itself and a critical gameplay feature because it actually heals yourself and your meter, gets a little old by the end of the game and is kind of time-consuming. It's awesome that there's 3 separate animations for it, but it wouldn't hurt if there was a few more or something other that you could do with it.
For the day have ended.
Now, I've heard a lot of other reviewers and people that have played the game going on about the length, that it's an extremely short title, which I don't really understand because Rising is an 8-hour action game on first playthrough. A lot of these reviewers are looking at the total time at the end of a game's completion. This figure is actually based on your fastest runs of any of the missions and doesn't include things like continues, restarts, or cutscenes. Another big bonus of that is that as soon as I completed the game, I jumped immediately back in and started playing on very hard. I wanted to play that much because it actually felt like the game was short. Well, that's probably because the game was freaking awesome! Now to wrap this up, there was something I said earlier about real video games. I only say this because, in our day and age, what can be defined as a hardcore or real video game is somewhat in question. A lot of stuff nowadays just artificially pads in sequences just to extend a game's length. Things aren't really focused on controls anymore, empowering the player, making you feel like what you're doing is important. Sure, the story might not be as deep and complex as something like Metal Gear Solid 4, but if you look at a lot of good movies and games, sometimes it isn't the huge, deep, complex tales that are actually the most intriguing and engaging. It's the simpler stuff. And that's what I like about Rising. Sure, it's got some of the stuff to bring you back to Metal Gear. Long codec conversations, a lot of dialogue between characters, and explanations for things that sometimes you might not need explanation for. But after it's all over and the final cinematic plays through, you sit and you say to yourself, wow, that was a really good game, not a movie. Which is why I think that Metal Gear Rising deserves a 9 out of 10. Oh, man, that was exhausting. What is it about this game? Like, besides the thing as I mentioned, I still try to think back, like, why was I enjoying it so much? I don't know, it's just something about, like, the cybernetic ninja with human and robot parts, using all of his tools at his disposal, taking orders from some government or corporation, fighting for the weak with their robot animal. Holy shit! For the entire Metal Gear Rising playthrough, check it out on our other channel, youtube.com/YoVideogames. Leave a thumbs up or comment if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.
It's over. Everything went just as you expected.
Yes, I knew it would. This paves the way for a brave, new genre of games.
Is there anything I can be of assistance with in Ground Zeroes?
No, Snake, that is all. You can return back to Alaska with your dogs.
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Metal Gear Solid, Ground Zeroes. Tactical, emotional, espionage blade gunner. I'm a fucking genius.